Hello, I'm Ragnarok, and welcome to The Reckoning. So today we're going to take a look at the Age of Calamitous mod for Conan Exiles, the game, an updated list of the Age of Calamitous Faction Crafting Thralls, and what stations they go in. Since the last video that we did, there has been a pretty considerable update when it comes to the Thrall crafting system in the Age of Calamitous mod. There was new stations created, old stations removed, new thrall classes created, and readjustment of where the current thralls go. So we're gonna go through the video. We're just gonna look at basically, what the we'll go over a brief example of what crafting thralls are, what they technically do. Then we'll go into the different types of crafting thralls there are in the Age of Calamitous mod. We're only gonna be looking at the Age of Calamitous crafting thralls, not the vanilla ones. But the premises are still the same, just the names are a little different, and what stations they go into a little station are a little different. The Age of Calamitous Thralls are a little more fluid than the vanilla ones are. But we're going to go through them and all the stations they go into. I'll show you a brief example of what they do, and then that'll pretty much be it. Okay, so the first one we're going to take a look at is the Alchemist. So we have the Alchemist for the Age of Calamitous mod. There are 6 factions, so there's going to be one alchemist for each of the factions. Unlike the actual vanilla game, there's not going to be multiple types. There's not going to be tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 name thralls. There's only one level of the crafting thralls. And as far as, at least currently, in the current iteration of Age of Calamitous, there isn't a difference between the faction thralls themselves. So a Vanghoul Alchemist is going to be no different from a Cold Embrace Alchemist, from an Elven Alchemist, so forth, so forth. So that does not matter. There was one little glitch at a time where there was a Stormhold, I believe it was the cook, actually gave you the recipe for the Wilderness Stew. That is no longer the case. That has been fixed. So right now there is no difference between any of the crafting thralls. Not to say that's not could never change. You never know what will happen, I guess, but currently not the case. So we're going to go into it. So the Alchemist. This one is, if memory serves me right, it's not a very common one, but it can drop at the normal camps. I have actually gotten Alchemist from the normal camps. There are two, for those that don't know, we do have a video on Age of Calamitous Faction Thralls, where to find them in all their camps and stuff like that. Check that video out if you haven't seen it, or if you're not familiar with all the different camps. But every faction has 2 camps. Their normal camp and their legendary camp. The legend camp is harder. It's got more thralls, higher class thralls. Some of them have bosses in it, or mini bosses or whatever. And they will have a better rate of spawning higher tier fighter thralls, because they're up to 10 tiers for fighter thralls. Crafting thralls obviously is just the 1 tier, but there's certain crafting thralls that are more unique. Peasant, for example, when we get there, that one's a little bit more of a rare one. So that one's going to be a little harder to find. I will typically find that at the legendary camps versus the normal camps. So, for example, the Alchemist one, you can pretty much find it either. I think I'd probably find it a little more at the legendary camps, but I have seen it at the normal camps. So, as far as the Alchemist itself, so as far as the Age of Calamitous stations it goes into, there are 2. There is the Alchemy Desk, the Plague Furnace. That is it. So, as far as vanilla stations, we have the Fermentation Barrel, and then we have the Fireball Cauldrons, both improved and regular. As far as the Fireball Cauldrons, you do get these unique recipes: the white, the fill, the white and black dye, the orbs, the tar and stuff. So you do get some recipes with them. They do kind of act like name thralls in some aspects. We will go over the spots where they don't. In the Age of Calamitous ones, they will also give you unique. Actually, I guess this is probably the one place where I actually misspoke. This is the only station that does this, but with the faction Alchemist, they will give you the special recipe to the dye that's specific to the faction you put in the chest into the station. This is actually the one exception. I kind of forgot about it. So if you put a Stormhold guy in here, you'll be able to make the Stormhold blue, the Arkenvale teal, and the Stormhold white, and the Honor Hill red and gold. So that is the one exception. Alchemy desks, alchemists are, I would say, is a very important one. As far as there's probably maybe 3. I would say there's 3. We'll say 3 very important faction thralls early game, and then there's another 2 or 3 late game. They kind of shift. So I'll go over them when we get to that point. I would say alchemy, very early game and late game, mainly because of the powders. It's going to decrease the amount of mats that you need to make these powders, so a lot more useful, less mat gathering. Plague Furnace, very good for end game because these are made for these two items are used for the end game weapons and armors and stuff like that, so that could be very useful. Other than that, pretty much the same. Next one we're going to go to is the Haggler. So the Haggler is basically, it's more or less just a merchant thrall. It goes into all the Age of Calamitous merchants. The only one it doesn't go into is the Master Coin, and that's because the Master Coin is not a merchant. He's strictly just a change this coin in for this coin. But the rest of them, as you can see, if I take him out, she's talking to nobody. If I put him in, she's talking to somebody. And the only thing that difference is if you pick a different faction, it's different who they're talking to. So that's it. And it goes into all the, I guess we can go through it right here. General store, ingredients trader, tire dealer, both Bobby and Lannis, Rothgar, Shepherd, waiter, and the weapons dealer. Actually, I think I have the weapons dealer twice, didn't I? Maybe not. Next one we're going to go into is Peasant. Oh, and the Haggler I'll find it pretty much usually, and they're very common in the normal camps. Now we have Peasant. This is actually one of the most important ones, early game and late game, depending on what you're doing. But I would say both, especially early game. This one I typically only find in legendary camps. The Peasant will work in, as far as vanilla stations, it will work in both tanneries, both the regular and improved. As far as Age of Calamitous, it works in this construction platform. Now, I'm going to give you an example. Here's where I'm going to show you an example of what the reason you're going to really want to get these guys. So let me take these mats out. Actually, no. I want to leave the mats in. So I'm taking the thrall out. We're going to look at castle. So we're going to look at the highest tier, and this is just for sake of making it, proving my example. This is the highest tier for the Stormhold faction, the Marble Castle Foundations. So as you can see right here, we can only craft 66 of them. If I put the thrall in there, we can now craft 142. So it decreased the amount of mats that are required. So for example, this needs 7. If I take them out, this probably needs 15. So that's the one thing. The other thing it does is we're going to craft one of them. As you can see how long this is taking. That's a considerable amount of time. I mean, it's not insane, but if you're making like 200 of these foundations because you're making this massive castle, now I'm going to create 10 of them. I probably create 8 of them in the time it took to create one. Okay, so not only does it decrease the mats by half roughly, but it also speeds up the time to craft these things. And this is obviously a higher tier, so it's going to take the longest. If you're crafting things like wood and stuff, it's going to fly by. By the time you click the button, it's done. But the drop in the mat requirement is really, really good. So next we have Worker. The Worker is one of the newer factions that was added to the Age of Calamitous mod. So this wasn't here prior. I think it was, some of these things were split up amongst the other factions, and then I think there was originally a farmer, which there is not now. So as you can see, the Worker is probably one of the most versatiles. This is also one of the most common ones. You're going to find Workers a lot of times in normal camps and legendary camps. Normal camps, I get them sometimes too often. But we're going to go through what they do. So they work in the armor's benches, both improved and regular. They'll work in any of the artisan tables. I just happen to put the vanilla one here and then the DLC Apollonian one here, but they'll work in the Catan and the Turian and all that. The Woodworking Bench is a new crafting station to the Age of Calamitous mod, so it works in there. This is where you make a lot of your decorations and your statues and your planters and lights and stuff. It will also work in the Age of Calamitous gardens. So you have the Forestry Garden, which is the one that makes like your rocks and your tree decorations. Then the Dragonfern Garden, Bitter Cornelia, and Bluebell Gardens, where you would grow the decorations for that. It works in the Carpentry Benches, both improved and regular, which is vanilla. And then also the Sewing Station, which is also a new station to the mod, which was created for this. And this is where you're going to make all your armors for the Age of Calamitous mod. So the Worker early game is kind of more useless. I mean, they're really good if you put them in the vanilla stations. But you're not going to really need to craft a lot of the decorations unless you really are big on putting decorations in your base early game. And the Age of Calamitous armors, I mean, the early ones are kind of nice, but they kind of fall off pretty fast when it comes to armor protection. And the late game ones, you're not going to be able to craft until like level 100. So this station's kind of useless until about level 100. I mean, not useless, but I wouldn't say it's a priority early game. As far as the Faction Thralls working in the vanilla stations, as you can see, you can make flawless gear. I don't know why that one's exceptional. That's kind of weird. But yeah, you can make flawless gear. And this is all DLC armor. Here's some vanilla stuff. So it basically, it doesn't give you any special recipes. It only gives you flawless for the standard armors that come with the game. So the light, medium, and heavy. And then obviously all the DLCs that correspond with that. There's no special outfits that are unique. And then we'll take a look here. Same thing, same recipes. And then we'll go over to the carpenter bench. Same thing, flawless of all the standard bows. It's not making any, then, you know, it's not like, you know, said vanilla name thrall that can make the slaver's armor flawless or the chimerian armor flawless. It's just making the basic armors. All right, next we have the Taskmaster, and we also have Errynaya. I kind of made them in the same section. There are actually two types of thralls. So we have the Taskmasters. They will fit in the Torturer's Workbench, which is kind of nice because you also get the chain bindings as the special recipe for them, which is kind of nice. They will also work in all vanilla. I only put one here, but they'll work in all vanilla Wheels of Pain, which is really nice. The tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And then they'll work in all the Age of Calamitous Wheels of Pain, which are really, really nice. In the Age of Calamitous Wheels of Pain, they will actually speed up production. They will actually break thralls faster than a vanilla named Taskmaster will in any of the wheels. So, and they don't, from my testing, last time I tested this, they actually will not speed. They will act the same as a named Taskmaster in a vanilla station. They will only work faster than a vanilla Taskmaster or vanilla named Taskmaster if you put them in an actual Age of Calamitous wheel, which you should be doing anyways, because these things you can pick up, these you have to destroy. These hold 10 thralls. This one holds 4. The biggest one holds 8. And the smallest one you can make until like what, level 20 only holds 1. So make those. Same as this. This is just another one of the Age of Calamitous one. This one's for the Elven faction. Now this one's a little different. This one has Errynaya Anarious. She's actually one of the bosses, or whatever you want to call it, the heads of the Sanguise Purge. So you're only going to be able to capture her if you actually get the Sanguise Purge, which is in the snow area. And then you'd have to actually survive it to the last wave and capture her. So that's the only current way of actually getting her. But she pretty much acts the same as the faction named, or the faction Taskmasters. And as far as these faction Taskmasters, I have found them in both the normal and legendary camps. Chefs are another common one. Normal camps, they will fit into a good amount of stuff, as you can see. They will fit into, the stoves, both vanilla and improved. As far as recipes, these are just the standard recipes that you get with any of the named thralls in vanilla. They'll go into the Age of Calamitous stove, which again, these recipes. It goes into the Brewery, which is the Age of Calamitous station. The campfires, both the little campfire, which I didn't make here, the medium campfire, and the bonfire. So all the same stuff. Vanilla, and no, you don't get recipes for these because these are just cooking stations. They will also go into the Fireball Cauldrons, which is similar to the Alchemist. The difference is, and this is the same with the vanilla game, you can put a chef in an alchemy station with vanilla thralls. They just don't bring recipes with them. So, and then the fermentation barrel, where you'll get actually recipes in that, which I actually believe the one over there you didn't, if I remember right. You can go back to that part in the video. All right, so the next one is Enchanter. This is actually another big one that I actually go after, mainly because of speed. Early game I go after speed. Mid game and late game it's extremely important, especially late game. This is probably one of the ones I seek after the most, mid to late game. And the reason is because it goes into the Enchanting Table, which is really nice. It's when you start making things like the Enchanted Thatch and then the Shaped Wood, it's nice. and it will speed things up. If you're making any of the magic orbs and stuff like that, that's really nice. It will actually decrease the mats. This is more of just for speed reason. You can get like shaped wood, which is required for any building, a lot faster, and you'll get the conversions faster. The main reason it's super important is the gems. You will find that you will need a lot of gems, especially the full-on ones. Typically, it's 6 uncuts to make a shard, and then 4 shards to make a hole. So obviously it's cut directly in half, so meaning you can get double the gems for the same amount. This is really big because, like I said, you're going to, especially when you start making endgame, you want to make the endgame Cold Embrace, Frost Knight armor, you're going to need a crap load of gems, including especially diamonds. And having it is just a massive save on time. So these, I can't remember the last time actually. I don't think I've ever seen them. They may spawn in at the regular camps, but it's got to be super rare. Maybe, occasionally I'm sure you can get lucky and get go there twice in a row and see an enchanter maybe, but I only ever find these guys at legendary camps, and it's rare. So that's just to make note for some of these more rare ones. It is a rotating table, and it's all RNG. So I do remember getting people in the last video that made comments of like, hey, I've been here 15 times and I still haven't seen this. They rotate between all the camps, and what can go there is random. So what I usually do is I make, especially end game, I just make runs around all the camps. I either hit up all the regular camps or all the legendary camps. There's certain camps I hit up depending on what area I'm in. So I can usually do a round and hit up like 5 camps or 3 camps or 4 camps, whatever. But I usually hit up a couple camps in a run. And sometimes you'll get lucky and sometimes you won't. So you just got to keep trying. That's the best I can say. But you will get them. They do spawn. They're just, some of them are very low rates, and sometimes you can just get unlucky. So next one we have is the Smelter. And the Smelter, as you can tell, goes into the furnaces. Both the improved furnaces, the regular furnace, the kiln that you learn at the, I always forget what it's called, but the place where you learn the map room, I don't know, the library, the archive, or what, the archive, right? Which is really nice furnace. Those are vanilla, all 3 of those. And then the master furnace. So again, this is another one that I seek end game, because when you start making sky metal bars and Chronoxium steel bars and stuff like that for your end game mats, turning down what this is required is awesome. Also, when you start making hardened brick, lessening the amount of stuff it's when you start doing like big end game builds. If you're on a server that actually, promotes big building. Yeah, this is going to help with having to grind less mats, but it's huge when you start making these bars, especially like the Sky and the Chronoxium, and the Zarium. I think that's how you say that. And last but not least, we have the Blacksmith. So this is actually another one of the newer ones. Actually, no, we had the Blacksmith before. They just changed what it goes in. So as far as stations, it goes in the Blacksmith station, which actually wasn't the case. I think the Smelter went in here originally, so that was one of the changes that was made. As far as recipes, it's just like the armor. It doesn't give any special recipes of any specific items. It just gives you the flawless of the base weapons of the game. So, your normal sword, your axe, your shield, stuff like that, and then obviously the DLCs that correspond, because all the DLCs are just reskins of the normal weapons. And then it also, like a named thrall, it does let you make legendary weapon repair kits, so that's really nice. Same thing, legendary weapon repair kits. So they do act like a vanilla named Blacksmith. And then the last station it goes into is the Age of Calamitous one, Iron Smithy. This is a newer station that was created in one of the most recent patches. And this is where you're going to make all your Age of Calamitous weapons for your factions. So again, this is another one that is really, really good, more end game than early game. There are a couple of early game weapons that are really good supplement to be supplemented. But I'd say most cases I really don't see people making these unless they just want to run around looking cool. Until you get to end game, which you're looking at either level 100 or level 110 or 120 to make the higher end ones. So things like the Hammer of Justice and was another really good one. I like the Vanquish Cleaver and stuff like that. Or you start making like the Restoration arrows and the Moonfire arrows and stuff like that. So really, really good station. Blacksmiths, I typically only find I find most common in the legendary camps. And for some reason, I actually find them in the Cold Embrace Legendary camps most often, but that may be just because that's the Cold Embrace Legendary camps, the camp that I farm personally the most, just because it's near where I like to build. And it's insane. It's actually pretty insane to go to, but it's not as insane as some of the others. It's definitely not the easiest though, so don't go there, because watch the video, you'll know. Okay, so that was a look at the Age of Calamitous Mod, Faction Thralls, Crafting Thralls, and the stations that they go into. So hopefully that helped you out. I really do appreciate it. I know this video has been needing an update for a while, because a lot of people, I've been getting a lot of questions about, hey, I watched your video, but I don't see where, can't even find these thralls, or they don't go here anymore. So hopefully this helps out a lot. These thralls are I see a lot of people that just don't get the AOC faction thralls, and they're killing themselves getting mats end game. So I highly suggest that they're not hard to get. I can actually start farming some of these thralls as early as like level 30. Now, obviously, I've been playing the game a lot more, but it's not that hard once you learn the couple tricks with it. But you can definitely do it once you start hitting like level 50. I don't see it being a problem as long as you stay away from the legendary camps. So definitely check out that video. I made a couple suggestions in that video as far as the AOC faction camps, on which camps I suggest to go to, which ones are easier to farm, and stuff like that. Hopefully the video helped. If you did like the video, make sure you hit the sub button. It definitely helps with the channel a lot. Also, I want to congratulate the entire Reckoning community. We just actually hit 1,000 subs on YouTube. That is a massive milestone. I want to congratulate everybody. I'm gonna have to do something, so stay tuned. Stay tuned and keep an eye on it out for something coming down the pipe that will be a great thank you to everybody. And I really do appreciate it. But if you're not subbed already, definitely sub. It's an amazing, massively growing community. And we have, we're putting out some really, really good videos, and we have a lot of really good videos planned for the future. So we'll get them out as fast as we can get them out. Make sure you hit the like button if you like the video, because that, again, lets me know that you like these types of videos, and it actually helps the channel immensely. If you have any questions or comments about anything that you've seen in this video, feel free to leave it. I do check all the comments. So, if I see anything that, I can help you out on or do a quick comment on, I'll see what I can do. And also, I want to do a quick shout out to our elite Patreon crew for the support, the extra special support they give, and helping me out and help me put out these videos every week or every month or whenever I put them out. If you want to be actually part of the elite Patreon crew, check the description below for the link. Also, we stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/RagnarrockLive, and we have an amazing Discord channel with a massively growing community. Also, this whole community's just been blowing up lately, so I really do appreciate it. Links for both the Twitch channel and the Discord, as well as the Patreon, are in the description below. And I just want to say thank you guys, and as always, fear the reckoning.